F1 arrives at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix, and for once, the news side of things is actually a little bit quiet in the Formula 1 paddock, which is quite surprising considering how we've seen all the news breaking out over the past few weeks. But what we can confirm is that one-shot qualifying sessions have officially been scrapped. We've only seen the one-shot qualifying sessions once this season, which was at the Bahrain Grand Prix. However, we have not seen it since. We were expecting to see it at multiple races this season in order to try and spice up the competition and spice up the sport. However, after a fan survey was sent out by the FIA, in which multiple fans from across the globe went ahead and put their thoughts and feedback into the sport, they decided that the one-shot qualifying format that was introduced actually did not add the excitement that they were looking for in order to continue to keep themselves invested in the sport. The FIA have confirmed that the sport is going to be using the survey not only to follow up from this one-shot qualifying session opinion, but to make further changes to the sport thanks to what they've seen via the feedback. And they're going to be looking to take that on board to hopefully use it for the next few seasons of Formula 1. Taking a look at the race news then heading into the Dutch Grand Prix, Mercedes shocked the field as they actually topped the timing sessions for Friday practice, and it was something that nobody saw coming, and there is a reason for that which we'll get to in just a moment. Teams meanwhile are struggling to get the right setups on their car as there is rain forecasted for the race on Sunday. The biggest question is when this rain patch is going to come, because there's a lot of different readings with regards to the wind speeds, and of course with the wind speed being crucial as to when that weather front is going to come in, will it mean that the rain will be there for the whole race, will it be there halfway through the race, or will it be a case that the wind level drops and that rain will not come until after the Grand Prix? Teams are keeping a close eye on this as they work on setups for their cars. Tom continues to complain about the high-speed cornering of his Renault car. It's been a downfall of the car all season long, and once again here at Zandvoort, he says it's costing him at least 6 to 7 tenths per lap. And what made Mercedes-Benz so fast on the Friday is that they are continuing to make further upgrades to help their performance. Mercedes believe they've actually finally found the issues to their car, and they're beginning to get on the development path and make sure that these upgrades are working. So far, Mercedes have had multiple upgrades at the start of the season which just simply haven't worked, but finally they're starting to get some upgrades onto the car that are working, and it's proving to be very, very helpful. However, they say not to read into the Friday times too much, and that there are plenty more to come from the rest of the top drivers. And then finally, Ferrari are really struggling to get their car to work here at Zandvoort. They say their car is really struggling to maintain balance through the banked corners, and it's something that is crucial as this circuit is known for its banked corners. But let's see if that hinders them and they can try and get it sorted for the race here for the Dutch Grand Prix. Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 10 of the season number 8 of course of the F1 journey, and we're here for the Dutch Grand Prix, a track which is traditionally really overpowered for the AIs, especially in the middle sector. Now, when I'm making this video, or when you're seeing this race, as you can see now, this is pre-patch, because basically there's a patch that's come out which have actually nerfed the AIs in 3 different tracks. One of them being Zandvoort in turn 7, where you lose half a second a lap on the AIs as we lose the back end there, trying to find a little bit of performance, and we're unfortunately going to have to abandon this lap. But I actually recorded this race pre-patch, so this is whilst the AIs are at their most overpowered, so that's fun. On to our final lap though, we're trying to find a little bit of time here. We're not really finding that much. We're only in 18th place at the moment, and it looks like we're only going to find about a tenth of a second on our previous best lap to put us in a measly P17. It's race day then here for the Dutch Grand Prix. We're here at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it is going to hopefully be an absolute cracker. It is round number 10 of this enthralling season in which we have got multiple drivers in contention to win the Drivers' Championship, with of course ourselves currently at the front of the field. It's only a short track actually. It's 2.6 miles long with 2 DRS zones, 1 down the pit straight and 1 heading into the chicane to enter the final sector. Only 14 corners, but most of them are all fast, sweeping, banked corners, which the drivers absolutely love. And we've got all ranges of tyres, the soft, medium and the hards, and also the wet and the inters. And of course, there is rain forecasted for this race. It's not here at the moment, but it could turn up later on, so those inters might just be needed, and so will that safety car if track conditions get a little bit tricky. Let's have a look at the grid then and see how the drivers line up here for the Dutch Grand Prix. So Sam takes pole position by a whopping 0.4 of a second, but it's Nick de Vries on the front row of the grid to shock the pack and get an awesome qualifying result. Sergio Perez is third for Mercedes, with Van Dorn lining up alongside in P4. Rees qualifies in 5th with Charles Leclerc in 6th for Audi, the highest placed Audi driver on the grid. Lando Norris qualifies in 7th. It's only 8th place is good enough for Ferrari. Hamilton takes that spot with Sainz qualifying in 9th, and George Russell finishing in P10 for qualifying. Daniel Ricciardo starts 11th with Pierre Gasly lining up 12th on the grid, with then 13th place being for Max Verstappen, Mick Schumacher 14th. A nice qualifying session once again for the Ford driver. Oscar Piastri lines up in P15 with Valtteri Bottas 16th on the grid for Porsche. Then it is ourselves in P17 alongside Callum Ilott in 18th place, and then the back row is Robert Schwartzman and Nico Hülkenberg completing the grid. Alright then, so we're here on the grid now for the start of the Dutch Grand Prix. It's going to be a one-stop race. It's the soft to the hard compound tyres. No way that we can try and mix things up with strategy, so we're just going to have to try and work with that. And we've got 5 red lights here for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go then. It's a good start from us off the line there, immediately passing one of the Porsche cars, but granted, they were on the medium compound tyres, as we're going to go right to the outside line here, try and use the high speeds of these Formula 1 cars to dance around the outside, and that's what we've done now, as we're now onto the back of our teammate here, Pierre Gasly, but we get a very late switch there, and go to the outside line and make up a couple more places now, trying to get a move on Verstappen, but Max actually stays in front of us, and we're up into 14th place then. That's 3 places gained off the start. Gasly drops 3 places from the start, so bad part start for Gasly, good start for us now as we go into the middle sector. You can already see there, look, the amount of time that we're losing through this portion of the track. This is where we really are struggling a lot for performance, and of course, as I said when we were talking in qualifying, that's actually been patched, but of course I did this before the patch came out, and I never even expected there to be another patch for this game, but there was, and they obviously nerfed the AIs around Zandvoort, Belgium, and also Austria in a set of corners. I think they did Pouhon for Belgium, they did turn 7 for Zandvoort, and then the second to last corner, or even the last corner for Austria. So that's where they've nerfed the AIs, but of course we have to deal with them at their absolute overpoweredness here as we complete the first lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. Having a look then at Verstappen in towards turn 1, trying to see if I can make up a cheeky little position there. Unfortunately, not to be. Let's have a look at the start though, see how everybody else got on then. So it was a clean start from Sam, he gets away quite nicely. It didn't look like a good start for De Vries though, so hopefully we can try and catch up with Nick and see what happened there. But there are 2 Mercedes drivers in front of a Red Bull driver, so I wonder if they've actually got away unscathed there. But this is how we got through, just about avoiding contact with our teammate there, to swoop on the outside of him. Got a nice run of Verstappen, but unfortunately Max was able to cover that one off. This is on board now with Sergio Perez, I believe this is now, starting from 3rd on the grid here, and this is quite a lovely start from Sergio Perez. He gets straight through Nick de Vries there, and he's up into 2nd place now in this race here. And this is on board then with Lando Norris now, who actually also had a very nice start here, instantly passes the Audi, and then he's going to go side by side here with Rees now in towards turn 1, so he gets past Leclerc. Now he's having a look at Rees here in towards turns 2 and 3. Can Lando Norris go ahead and get this move done? Through towards turn 3 they go. Now into the back corner here, Lando Norris, I think, pretty much gets that move done and dusted, so it's a cracking start from them, and unfortunately for Rees, it's a bad start. Lap 5 of this Grand Prix now, and the first attack of this race is for Verstappen. He's attacking Mick Schumacher in towards the first corner now. Max goes around the outside here, and it's quite a comfortable move actually for Verstappen there as he passes Schumacher, and then we've got ourselves there and Gasly lurking in the background, still really unable to make that moves, make any moves stick here. Lap 7 now, we've got one of the Porsche drivers here. This looks like Hülkenberg that's having a look at, this is Robert Schwartzman, sorry. 2 drivers trying to scrap at the back of the field here. You can see they are actually quite a long way back now, these two, so they're scrapping a lot here, and it's not helping them because their races are already very lonely, and they're making it even more lonely, but at least they're battling with each other now here at lap 8 though. We've got a nice run here on Mick Schumacher now, going through the exit of the back corner now, heading up in towards the middle sector here. This is the corner where the AIs are at their strongest, and unfortunately I don't have the speed to do that here as I'm trying to find a way past Schumacher, because costing me a lot of time now. There's Verstappen up ahead. I was hoping that I could try and follow Verstappen, get past Schumacher as quick as I possibly could, and then stick into the DRS of Verstappen and give it everything I've got, because we've got decent pace in the final sector. We just lose it all in the middle sector, and unfortunately I've not been able to get the job done quick enough here. We are going to get the job done now though with some DRS here. Go to the outside line of turn 1, force Mick to take a very tight apex into the first corner. He's going to still challenge, but eventually on the exit we'll get that move done, but unfortunately the damage has been done. I'm not in DRS range of Verstappen anymore, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch him up here on lap 12 of the Grand Prix now. We are literally in no man's land. We're 10th on the road, but we have no one near us. We've got Mick Schumacher still catching us now, but apart from that, I literally cannot do anything as we go a little bit wide here through that corner, and now go for this one. Sorry, this is the corner, and we go a little bit too wide here. There goes Mick Schumacher. We've made contact though, and we're into the wall then. Front wing is gone, and I think we just made contact there with Pierre Gasly. The VSC has got to come out for that one, as the front wing is damaged across the wall there, but that is not a good thing at all. And let's have a look at the replay then. So this is where we lose it here. We just lose the rear end through there, and then we make contact with Gasly. I was too busy just concentrating on the Ford driver coming on through that I forgot about Pierre Gasly, and to be honest, I'd probably go ahead and say that's my fault there. In that one. You can let me know in the comments section if you think that was actually Gasly's fault rather than mine. You think Gasly maybe ran into me. I'd probably put that a bit more on myself than anything else, but that's cost us heavily now, because as we come into the pits here, we've got to change our front wing, but so too does Pierre Gasly. You can see, well, we're actually looking over a different pit garage here. This is the Jaguar pit garage. I know it says Aston Martin on the top, but I haven't modded absolutely everything, because I mean, apart from that occasion there, you're never going to see that, so there's no point in me spending hours trying to get that all modded and fixed. But what is going to get fixed is our front wing, and we're going to get cracking. The only thing that we've got to help us in this Grand Prix now is that we pitted under the VSC. That's the only thing I've got. But unfortunately now, we are stone dead last, and it's going to be an absolute miracle now if we can score points in this race. We pitted pretty much within our pit window, but we're now in P18 here, because on to lap 15 of the Grand Prix now, all of the drivers have made their stops now in this race here, and we've caught up to the back of Nico Hülkenberg here as we now try and see if we got some DRS here. So too does Hülkenberg. Going to send it down the inside in towards turn 1, but it's too late on the brakes. Hülkenberg switches through, and we actually stay behind him for the time being here, and this is where the frustration is just really building now. The race is not going well. There's a little bit more contact though, but now here we've got a nice run here on Hülkenberg. Now going to go through towards the inside line here. Now we're going to go side by side here, use the straight line speed off this Renault. Now down into the middle sector, but unfortunately again, we don't have the corner speed that they have got through there to make that move stick. Hülkenberg stays in front, and now the frustration just keeps on building, because we're stuck behind this Porsche driver and we can't find a way through now as we activate a little bit more of our battery. But crucially now, that attack on Hülkenberg, yes, we didn't make the move stick, but we've stopped him from getting some DRS here, and that's lovely, because I can now use my DRS here and go right around the outside into the first corner and make the move stick. We're up into 17th place now. It's just a consolation overtake really. We've now got one of the Astons ahead. That's probably going to be Oscar Piastri that's in front of us, and we're going to try and go for him further up the field though. This is Carlos Sainz here attacking one of the Mercedes drivers in towards the first corner. He's attacking De Vries now, and Nick gets overtaken there by Carlos, who surprisingly is on the soft compound tyres. So Sainz doing a really strange two-stopper in this race. Maybe he thinks that the rain is going to come a lot earlier and that he is making that stop to try and get himself the fastest possible route to making that second stop onto the intermediate compound tyres. But for us though, here is our attack now on what is indeed Oscar Piastri, and it's round the outside we go on Oscar. He's going to make this one a little bit more challenging though now through the end of this first sector. I'm going to have to make it through into turn 3, and that's exactly what we do there. So lovely bit of attack there, Aston, but as I said before, it's just a overtake that means nothing here. But this is Carlos Sainz now, lap 22 of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately for Sainz, his strategy of doing a two-stop race is not working out, because he couldn't make the softs last, and he's actually had to pit for the mediums. So that rain has obviously not come quick enough for him here. It is starting to fall now on lap 24 though. You can see on the screen here as Reese now dances himself down the inside there here of Sergio Perez now. This is the fight for a podium spot in this Grand Prix. This might actually even be second place actually in this Grand Prix here. Perez is going to hold this one off now as they go through the banked corner here, but Reese will get the better exit now. He's got more straight line speed in the McLaren, and he is through now in that position. It's on to lap 26 now of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, enough is enough. We cannot stay on these tyres any longer, and that rain has come at the perfect point for us to go onto a set of the intermediate tyres. But as per usual, it really hasn't affected our Grand Prix. You see, everyone else is coming in around us now, and being in 16th place, this is not good for us. But here we go then, onto the intermediates we go. And this is now going to see us to the end of the Grand Prix. And we'll be absolutely fine to get to the end here as we now turn through in towards the exit pit lane here, and we've got a safety car now that's just come out from absolutely nowhere here. So where's that come from then? It's from our teammate Gasly. He's still on the dry tyres. He didn't make it to the pits in time, and he's gone straight into the wall then at turn 7, and that's a disaster for him. But it's absolute blessed for us now, because as we get back racing here on lap 30 of this Grand Prix, the pack is all bunched up now, and we're on the intermediate side. So let's see what we can do then. We get past the Porsche instantaneously. There goes Mick Schumacher then for a dive on Carlos Sainz. We're going to try and go around the outside of Sainz ourselves. Schumacher gets held to dry there on the outside, on the inside there, in towards the end of the first sector. Now we'll swoop around the outside here of Carlos Sainz if possible. Let's try and see if we get the grip and the traction. Yes, we do on Carlos Sainz, and we're now up into 12th place in this Grand Prix. So somehow, all of a sudden here, we're 2 places away from getting any points in this Grand Prix. So can we get some points now in the Dutch Grand Prix after what looked to be a race where we were never in with a shout here? Lap 32 of the Grand Prix now, going in towards the first corner now. This is George Russell that's in front of us. He's then challenging De Vries up ahead here. So let's see if we can try and see if we can get a move done on George Russell. That's exactly what we're going to do here. Swoop right around the outside here on George Russell. Now get the run here. The back end slides a little bit. That was a little bit hairy there. Russell now tries to come back at us, but we'll hold off George Russell there. But that was really scary, actually. I thought I was going to completely spin the car there and go straight into straight into the wall, actually. Now Lando Norris here, though, after the restart, is absolutely flying here now. He's going to go around the outside here of Reese into the first corner and snatches that podium away from the McLaren. He's now up into 3rd place here, and Lando Norris's charge here, it's not quite over just yet here, because he's now going for a move on Sergio Perez into the first corner now. Round the outside he goes, just like he did with Reese a lap ago. He's got past him, and now all of a sudden he's only got Sam left to overtake to win the Dutch Grand Prix. Sam, of course, has been absolutely dominant in this race so far, but could we see Lando Norris steal a victory away from Sam? Let's find out, though. On board with us, though, here we've got one more driver between us and some points, and that's Nick De Vries here. And we've got a fabulous run here on De Vries using the straight line speed that we've got. Mercedes doesn't have that straight line speed, and around the outside we go into the first corner, and it's a lovely move on Nick De Vries, and we're into the points then, up into P10 now in this Grand Prix. Lando Norris, though, is the man on a mission here, because he's actually caught up to the back of Sam now. He's got great pace in the wet conditions now, does Lando Norris. Towards the inside he goes. Sam's not going to let him have the outside line, and Sam goes through, but Norris just tries to creep his front wing in there. This is really close now. This is a scrap for the lead of the race. This is the final lap as well between these 2 drivers as they go into the banked corner now of turn 3 here. Norris doing everything to get this move done. He's got the traction, though. He's got the place, and he's up into the lead then of the Dutch Grand Prix on the last lap here. He snatches it away from Sam, and for us, though, we're also trying to make some moves here, because we've got Verstappen now in our eyes here for 9th place in this Grand Prix. We've got a great chance here in towards this high-speed section. We're going to go for it here, but we've messed up the move, and we've gone onto the grass, and now all of a sudden De Vries gets back past us. We're now under pressure from Russell in all of this as we bump over the curb there, and we made a very daring move on Verstappen, and looking back on that one now, that was a really, really silly move to be making. But let's see if we can try and recover ourselves here. We're out of the points again, though. So after finally getting ourselves into the points and an opportunity at even getting Verstappen in this Grand Prix now, I don't think we're going to score any points here now. As we go into the chicane here, we get it a little bit wrong now, and I don't think, no, we're not going to do it. We don't have enough performance left in the car now to try and make this one stick. We're going into the last corner here. It's going to be Lando Norris that will win the Dutch Grand Prix. But for us, though, we had points in the bag, and we've only gone and thrown it absolutely away, and it is a pointless finish. For the first time in Season 8, we have not scored a point in a Grand Prix, and that, unfortunately, was all because of ourselves. We threw it away in that race. Lando Norris, though, wins the Dutch Grand Prix after a sensational wet weather fight back. He was currently running in like 3rd or 4th place when the rain fell, but he managed to find a way to overtake Reese. He overtook Perez, and he finally found a way to overtake Sam, and he finishes on the top step. Sam finishes in 2nd place. He led every single lap of that race bar the final lap where he got overtaken. Sergio Perez claims his first podium for Mercedes-Benz this season. Mercedes will be delighted with that. They're on a really bad run of form in Formula 1 these past few seasons, and to get that podium definitely is going to give them a big boost in confidence. Reese finishes in 4th for McLaren, with Charles Leclerc taking home P5 for Audi. Stoffel Van Dorn finishes in 6th place, with Lewis Hamilton only able to pick up P7 for Ferrari. McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo takes 8th place, and then it's the two Dutchmen of Verstappen and De Vries that round off the top 10, with Sam taking the fastest lap of the race of a 1 minute 6.316. I haven't actually put the extra point for fastest lap on Sam's points counter. However, it is in the actual championship standings that he's got the 19 points, so don't panic about that one. In the second half of the tail then, we of course finish in P11. It should have been points, but I had a great run of Verstappen, and overall that move actually probably would have worked, but I just got it wrong. I didn't angle it correctly, and it's a silly place to make a move anyway. I probably should have just waited and hoped to get him into the chicane. If not, take the point and go, but it is what it is. George Russell finishes in P12 with Carlos Sainz in 13th place. Mick Schumacher is finishing in front of his teammate Callum Ilott, with the two Porsche drivers of Bottas and Hülkenberg coming up next in the race. Then unfortunately it's just a string of DNFs. Oscar Piastri out for Aston Martin. Pierre Gasly, our teammate, DNF'd, causing that safety car, and then Robert Schwartzman is out with a problem of his own, and of course Sam, like we said earlier, getting that fastest lap. Looking at the Drivers' Championship now after that Grand Prix, and it's closed up a little bit now at the top of the championship. It's just 18 points between myself and Charles Leclerc now in the battle for the World Drivers' Championship. Reese and Sam are now tied on points with each other. They both have 101 points, and they are closing in on that title scrap. Both of them just 52 points off, and that sounds like a lot, but of course we've still got 8 races to go in this season, so they've got plenty of opportunities to come back at us, and Leclerc for that matter. Lando Norris also is in the mix for the championship. He's on 99 points. He goes in front of Lewis Hamilton, who's on 94 points. Gasly stays on 53 points. Ricciardo has 49 points, and Russell and Sainz have the same points as they had last time out, 43 and 41 points. We've got the British Grand Prix coming up next. Then in the Constructors' Championship, Renault still lead the Constructors' Championship. We still have 206 points. We don't score anything today. Audi increased their points tally to 178, with McLaren now on 150. Red Bull overtake the likes of Jaguar and also Ferrari. Red Bull have 144 points, Jaguar now have 140 points, and Ferrari 135 points. Mercedes have got 41 points, with Ford taking 21 points to their name. Aston Martin with 2 points to stay in front of Porsche. But that is it for this race. We're now going to go straight into the post-race notebook and get the reaction from the teams and drivers after this Dutch Grand Prix. If you look at the post-race notebook, then it is Lando Norris that storms to victory here at Zandvoort after a sensational fight back in the wets to see him overtake 3 cars in the final 6 laps to take victory here at Zandvoort. Sam has to settle for P2 despite leading every single lap of the race bar the final lap, and Perez gets his first podium for Mercedes-Benz. Toto Wolff was absolutely delighted to see his team back on the podium once again. It's been a very difficult time for Mercedes-Benz at the moment, and to see them on the podium shows that they're definitely getting themselves back on track as they look to rebuild their path to victory in Formula 1. Sam was left absolutely speechless after missing out on the win here at Zandvoort. As we said earlier on, Sam had been absolutely dominant here at Zandvoort, leading from the front, taking pole position by nearly 4/10 of a second, but he missed out on the final lap of the race to Lando Norris. Speaking of Lando Norris, he's actually admitted that Lando Norris went with a wet weather style setup here at Zandvoort, which was the crucial reason how he managed to be so quick in the wet and to win there. Norris initially believed that the rain would be there much earlier in the race, and he'd felt that he'd actually now gone the wrong way and there was no chance of rain to fall. But eventually it did fall, and the rain gods helped Lando Norris to get that race win. But that is it, guys, for the F1 journey here at the Dutch Grand Prix. We will see you guys next time around for the British Grand Prix. So for now, guys, I'm out. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here as well. See you next time. Take care all. Peace.